knockout stage. I'm Atlas, and I am joined by LS to take you through a rematch of the LCK Summer Final. Someone on the blue side, DRX on red, and LS, this is going to be a real toughie for good old DRX.
Yeah, I feel like DRX coming into this one, they're going to have a lot to prove with their first round matchup rolling Damwon, who is considered one of the favorites still remaining in the quarterfinals to take the whole tournament in dominating fashion. So seeing what DRX maybe has prepared leading up to this match is going to be really interesting, because Damwon, while they did have some shaky games inside of the group stages, they still did look really on form.
Yeah, and the final game that they lost to JDG also didn't mean a whole lot. So you can imagine that Damwon didn't go out of their way to give out any extra strategies or allow any extra scouting for them either. So look to see a Damwon in better form moving into this best of 5. I got a fun fact for you, ladies and gentlemen. Damwon haven't lost a game on the blue side in their last 24 games. 24 games in a row. They have won on red side, LS. They also haven't done a lot of losing on red side, but still, that is a pretty
Cái đề tao biết, Lin tao đã biết đi coi.
Yeah, the last couple of months.
Tao.
As here, with their first few bans, it's going to be Shen, Galio, and Lilia.
Cái đề tao biết, Lin tao đã biết.
Italy, Twisted Fate, and Lucian. We'll see what Damwon want to elect to make their first pick here.
Graves is looking pretty open at the moment, but Pyosik does have that the pocket Kindred that he can go towards, of course, named after, as Ender so accurately described in the pre-show. The Graves, understandably, is going to be locked away. One of the things that is left up as well is the Camille, which has been banned away from Noguri almost every time. So it's a possibility that DRX can take that one away, but
Mày có
blind
ra
pick
lên
Camille has
và
been
hút
something that a
được.
lot of teams have ran into and have found themselves dealing with the Jax.
Con mẹ nó 40 phút rồi.
There is the Kindred, as we were
Vẫn
expecting.
đứng farm anh xịt.
And this is where things are going to shake up as Deft on his Caitlyn. Man, this is starting to get a little bit heated.
Yeah. Kindred and Caitlyn gonna be coming out here for DRX. We'll see where they pivot away from these two champions right now, but already quite a lot of physical damage.
Yeah.
Side of their team composition, Ornn obviously still available. And we saw them playing these two champions in their final match versus Top Esports. Last time around, Damwon now, they're going to lock in Jhin.
Something that Ghost has gone back to a lot. He can sort of be off in a side lane as Beryl is running around the map doing exactly what he wants, and then he can turn up with that curtain call to see whether he can snipe any kills. Showmaker, just thinking about taking away the Syndra here, definitely has been very high priority this Worlds. Feel like it's something that's come over from the LPL, because all year long Syndra has been pick or ban. As Chovy thinking about what he wants to take into that particular pick. Does give him a lot of flexibility, having seen the mid laner already, and we've got both junglers locked away, both bot lane carries as well. We're going to be looking for top lane and support as we move further into this draft.
And the Orianna lock-in is a little surprising because it means that DRX, Chovy, he's going to be surrendering a little bit of control around mid lane, and Orianna, she's still looking for some sort of help with her ultimate ability. She doesn't currently have any targets, so we'll see who the support and top lane picks are going to be for DRX, because at this point, I imagine support champions would be pinched by DRX, and then Damwon, things are still so up in the air in top lane, given the way the bans have gone so far. It's pretty hard to focus on.
Well, so far, Pantheon has been taken away. Beryl, of course, did debut the Pantheon support. And he was, for a time, the only player in the LCK that was able to make it look completely busted. Other people would try it, it wouldn't necessarily work out. Meanwhile, Beryl is sitting there on 4-0 on the champion. Ornn going to be banned away though, so Damwon not wanting to give DRX too many scaling options. And there's the Blitzcrank ban as well, who we've seen rising to popularity. Not necessarily a champion that stands out as a Beryl pick, but certainly something that DRX do not want to deal with there towards the bottom side. Just
and Damwon's thinking that DRX DRX are trying to go with this with the Ornn ban away and now the Lux.
10 seconds.
So
Let's see
they're
Lulu.
just trying to remove some of the
Hello.
later game scaling options away from DRX, but Lulu
Oh, I love it.
coming straight in now.
Keeping that flex alive can, of course, be on the bottom side of the map, which is, I think, where a lot of people will be expecting it to go. But we saw Noguri debut this over at Worlds, and certainly could be something that Doran decides to go to. And okay, Noguri.
Ổn không vậy không?
This is a matchup that he does like.
Sẽ tìm ở đâu vậy không?
It's going to be
Xem này.
looking like the cannon. So theoretically, if the Lulu is flex top, we know
Hey,
that Noguri is
you.
going to be absolutely okay with it, and that is the Leona for Beryl. So
Chắc
you
ai
were
đó
talking
sẽ
about sort
xem.
of the lack of real pinch towards the bottom side of the map, and the Leona certainly has been very high priority.
Well, this is very interesting because the Leona and the Kennen coming out together on P4, P5. Now this is incentivizing Merctreads to get picked up, and it's sort of harming the Syndra in a way, where they're all sort of working against each other, but it really enables the Jhin and the Graves to probably have a lot more value inside of the game. The scary thing is obviously Kindred. Her Lamb's Respite against Kennen slicing Maelstrom engages are going to get really strange. And then you're now trying to run into an Orianna, Caitlyn, and Lulu. And I'm left wondering why they pivot into that sort of a game plan when they have the range from Jhin and Syndra. Feels like they reward DRX's comp, and then DRX, they shore it up with Jace on R5.
And this is a pick that Doran's been able to actually take Noguri down on as well. Doran has, in his time in the LCK, really sort of risen. He's had a bit of a tumultuous season so far, but against Noguri, he was actually able to solo kill him, I believe, in one of their last matchups. And Doran's certainly come into his own, and it is on picks like the Jace that they like to flex between Chovy and Doran. So this could be a pretty good start for DRX, a team that does actually really like Red Side as well. So if they're able to win this game, they will break that 24 winning streak that Dom1 has. But the thing that I'm looking at is going to be in the early game to see whether DRX are going to continue their extraordinarily aggressive playstyle in the very beginnings of the game, because that's where they found their advantages, where Dom1 hasn't necessarily been able to.
Yeah. And I think that DRX this time around, they have the late game insurance on their side in some ways, and that can definitely prove to be quite valuable for them, because oftentimes DRX, they get into these spots where they have to win very early.
Yeah.
Or there's no coming back.
Yeah, it's they build just lane kingdoms.
Yeah.
And they don't really know how all of the puzzle pieces fit together. They're just the really cool puzzle pieces that they found in a selection of a whole bunch of different puzzles. That analogy wasn't super fantastic, but I do want to bring this conversation over to Deft. He's back on the Caitlyn again. I think he has the
30
highest
seconds.
CS per minute numbers as far as in a singular game. I think he got to 335 CS in a game that they won in 30 minutes time, and so that's just a little bit over 11 CS per minute. Was also, as far as all of those stats, the shortest game to achieve that kind of CS per minute number as well, because of course as the game goes on, it's much easier to get higher numbers there because you're able to farm 3 lanes, things like that. And for 30 minutes, that's a pretty insane stat line, and Deft is what this team's going to be revolving around, right? Like, Deft has had some rough times, you know, he's had some of his back issues, things like that. He's also had some doubts. That Draven game really shook him. And I think if you go and watch the interview, I believe Ashley Kang did one of those. And Deft was extraordinarily hard on himself, but he came out of that game and then pulverized his opposition. So very excited to see whether Deft is going to be able to step up here against a player that he's been very, very outspoken about playing against, right? He's spoken about going against Ghost, and he's like, I'm never going to lose against this guy, and then they got 3-0 in the final. So,
Call it a premonition.
that's tough.
Well, I think that one of the things that we have to look here for Deft
I want
is
the
which
hidden
one does
path.
he end up showing up. Like you were mentioning, he can have some pretty inconsistent games, and I think
Đây là hay không?
people think of Deft, they think
Tôi tưởng cái đấy,
a world-class elite
tôi tưởng cái đấy ai cũng biết
player
làm
that
đâu.
has been very, very top for so many years. But if you're an LCK fan and you've been watching Deft this year, sometimes
Mà
he has very,
Các ông
very
không
shaky
biết thôi.
games that don't look like unlike the depth that we've come to know,
Thế không
and
biết nữa thì
this
hơi
game
chú.
on Caitlyn, it's going to be really important that he does show up the way that people can expect him to.
Yeah, and this is one of his signature picks as well. I mean, Deft has always been one of those Caitlyn Lane Kingdom type players. I think thinking historically about Deft, it's his Jinx, his extraordinary win rate that he's held on to for many, many years.
Sống là phải thời gian
As
chứ.
far as consistency, it's always been very good. Just have to see whether Dunwich can do anything about it. Looking over their side, definitely a lot of comfort. They have that Graves pick that's been so coveted. And they also have Nogari on his cannon, and you know that he can just invent team fights that can just win games.
And this will be interesting to see how the top lane matchup's actually going to go between Doran and Nuggery. Nuggery taking the unsealed spellbook here on Kennen.
Yep, pretty standard stuff. No Nogari weirdness. He hasn't even taken a cull.
Yeah, well, honestly, he might be feeling a little under the weather, but we got a trade.
Yep, bit of an engagement here as Deft going down very, very low. It's an extremely late cleanse, and he may not be out of the woods just yet. Actually going to flash. There's now Carrier going to get stunned as well. So both summoners in the 2v2 taken away from the AD carry on DRX's side.
And now Deft and Carrier, they're just in a very unfortunate situation without their summoners. And one of the problems is Kindred doesn't really have very easy gank access in any of these lanes. So I'm very interested to see what Piochek's going to be able to do. Another problem is with Deft and Carrier getting shoved in and losing that part of a trade early on. Syndra has permanent control on it. Oh man.
That's actually huge. As Carrier is here trying to take care of Piochek, but Canyon just walks in and steals his lunch money.
Yeah, and this is very bad because it's going to be impossible for Kindred to play. Graves is going to double scuttle her now. And you can see that Piochek, he might try to run over to the left-hand side, but because Beryl got that super big trade early on, looking for Kindred, Syndra's always going to be able to get priority in mid lane whenever she wants over Orianna. It's not until Orianna gets Lost Chapter and maybe has blue buff that she can start pushing back in the 50-50 fashion, but even still, that's not necessarily winning.
And it might be too late as well, because we know both of these teams like to play explosively, and DRX aren't known to be able to pull themselves back from deficits. This is a team that's used to being very far ahead very quickly in these games, and that's how they win. Actually, not really the let's hold on and wait for the side. Damwon, they do a bit of both. They just do a lot of which I know is not great analysis, but it is basically how they play. Just know how to work the map regardless of how things go. Especially up here towards the top side, we talk about Nogari's 0-2 power smoke for a reason. I have a feeling that Piochek can get up here a couple of times, but it won't really matter. This cannon is still going to be able to dictate team fights in the later stages. I think a lot of it is going to have to do with how DRX are going to navigate those situations. This goes down here, does have his Swifty Boots, went for a cheater recall as we've got another engage. Deadly Flourish comes down, Carrier down to about half health as Deft is looking for Ghost. Locks him out as Beryl now with the Eclipse is going to be able to keep himself pretty healthy. And it's a relatively even trade in the end.
And we'll see what Ghost and Beryl want to do here. They are getting pretty low on sustain tools. They just have their biscuits available. Ghost does still have some stuff pushing, but meanwhile on top side, once Kennen comes off the reset, he's going to get so much value against the Jace and the Kindred simultaneously with the Seeker's Arm Guard. If Nuggery does end up picking up that, and Piochek is already having a very hard time playing. Mid laner, constantly shoved underneath their turret, lost the trade early on, and you get no value trying to go top lane. So it's a very hard game for Kindred to play.
And also, where are the bombs going to be as well? Control of the entire thing. Kindred is one of these very snowball-y jungles. Certainly suits Piochek's playstyle, but if you don't get those snowballs rolling, then the Kindred can feel a little bit like a dead weight. But still, quite early into this game, only 6 minutes.
Cực kỳ yếu.
There's no gold leads or anything like that. As, okay, Doran going to go for a little bit of a trade on the Nuggery here. Have that back denied at least. These top laners just chilling at half health.
Chưa.
Nuggery Now just has the wave craft on top of him. Now Kindred, top side of the map, red buff almost coming up.
Là Zizi cô nông.
On the left-hand side, so definitely skillful. I was liking that too, Zoe's to roll redemption.
Yep. I think you're exactly right. I was thinking about that myself, especially when we've got the 2 level 4 redemption rollers in this game. Guys watching the LCK. Washing would get it pretty much every single game. As Pyosik going to forego his red buff, he's looking for this mark and understand exactly why Pyosik will collect the Pyosik.
It's actually what the name means in Korean.
I just wanted to leave, and just make people confused.
Okay.
As he is going to be able to collect that one for himself. Heading over now the red buff, and we'll see where the Warlock is going to be able to go. This Canyon throw this blue over to Showmaker. So a bit of a lull state to start this one off, and you can understand with the pivotal nature of this particular game. You don't want to be making big, crazy moves or mistakes. A series like this. Feels like the Ares have been able to stabilize after. I know there hasn't been any kills or anything like that, but that early game jungle invade and the blue buff steal that Canyon was able to make work, it hasn't turned into, you know, a jungle schooling by Canyon, as it can happen sometimes. So Pyosik coming over here, he'll clear out this ward. And yes, Canyon's ahead, but it hasn't eventuated in too much more other than the dragon that was already picked up.
And, I mean, we see very little going on inside of this game. It seems like both parties are just very content to allow the game to unfold. Now, DRX, they've rotated here for the Rift Herald. This is my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, we've got a River Ramp. This is a 5v5. Doran's going to loop around. Noguri, level 7 at the moment, and here's the engage. Curtain Call comes down, and the Lamb's Respite comes in very, very early. Beryl getting a big old heal as Noguri's ultimate is beautiful. First blood going over to Showmaker, and he still has the only power available. As Pyosik very, very low, and that's the Black Zenith blade. Beryl has come to play today. As Dead gets the safety of his turret, but can't say that about Doran and Pyosik. First 2 kills go over to Damwon.
And Damwon now, with that kind of a victory, they also have the Rift Herald captured for themselves, so that's probably planted, I would assume, in mid lane, in order to just start getting done to Orianna's turret, because she's so good at defending it from damage, so typically you don't want the Rift Heralds in order to perforate that. But this kind of a win for them, it really stunts DRX now inside of the game. 2 minutes until the Cloud Dragon, we assume that we're getting that. Gonna bring us 2 minutes away from the soul point. And things get really scary because we're gonna have a good soul this game. Soul starts off, Showmaker forced to flash over the wall, Emily Flourish almost landed onto him. Now DRX, they're the ones that are behind in lanes right now and could scale better, but they rotated over to the Rift Herald, but their champions are a lot worse at this point in the game in terms of just base value. Lamb's Respite came out very early on, but then Nuguri just waits it out and then goes in with Slicing Maelstrom. Beryl with the Flash Zenith Blade gets on top of him. And you're just left wondering, why did DRX handshake it?
Well, they thought that they had a bit of an advantage, but they absolutely did not. CC was absolutely fantastic. I like the way that they used Pyosik's ultimate against him, like you mentioned earlier. Really. So now, DRX trying to work from behind, and we've mentioned that that is not something that they have been super good at so far this season. Do have a few extra tools. Some damage on the Beryl. He's going to press it on. CS advantages, and you can see it's actually Ghost in the lead in this game. Running around, but Canyon's going to turn up.
I reach from the
his control ward. Pyosik is going to slink away. I think this might mean a Rift Herald for the top side of the map, LS, as Doran is going to get Noguri out of there. Turret gets a bit mad.
That was really close.
Alright, Solar Flare in the mid lane. That's the flash from Chovy, but it's a little bit late. Still, Shockwave is going to be traded forward. Chovy's going to avoid dying to the Showmaker is going to throw out. So, mid lane going to be okay for the minute. Canyon actually holds on to the Rift Herald, decides that he wants to
little surprised what's going on here. Ooh, a little bit of a whoopsie daisy.
Yeah.
And top lane there.
Dance of Arrows was absolutely fantastic out of Pyoshik, avoiding the scat of the week as the Rift Herald is denied. That is huge for DRX.
And DRX, I mean, they managed to just have so many members in close proximity, so Canyon, a little bit of a blunder there with the Rift Herald, and honestly a very big break for DRX at this point in the game. Teleport coming out. Showmaker just wants to make sure that he's there, already has the Luden's Echo. And I think this really just emphasizes how far we've gone right now in CS, but just in game state to go back and actually complete any sort of, and I think that those work threads, but it doesn't really mean anything when nothing's going to be happening in the middle stages of the game, not going to get insane value out of it, and it's going to be Infernal Dragon. Coming up next.
Infernal Soul for our very first game of the knockout stage. That is the way you want to start it, in my personal opinion. As Showmaker shoves another wave towards Chovy, who's going to turn back up. And he'll play this one for himself. So Chovy farming very well, like you were talking about. That first blood helping Showmaker out.
Con lên nó mới bay ra, anh đập con ca nó chết luôn kìa.
As Canyon is going to lose the Rift Skull.
Cái dễ thôi, không thấy nó đâu, em thấy nó 2 lần đâu ấy. Không thấy đâu.
That is a bit of value. As you can see, gold advantage, not necessarily gigantic for Damwon, but it is still over 1,000 as we crest the 13 minute mark.
Under attack.
And right now, it feels like DRX, they're just continuing to wait for things. The Sanguine Blade on Jace up in top lane is very surprising to me, because I feel like their idea of what Doran's going to be doing in this game is going to be very different than what's going to be forced by Damwon, which is just the inevitable team fighting around Soul.
Yeah, right.
And so the Sanguine Blade strikes me a little bit peculiar because the game is almost over. And
Bro,
this item's not gonna
recommend
have
him, bro.
as much value as the other traditional lethality items as this game begins to open up.
Đéo
And
quen biết
everywhere
gì
else,
cũng
things
bro
are
đô.
fine.
Đéo
He's
quen
going
biết
to be
gì
on
cũng
Ghost
bro đô.
Hunting duty. Maybe he's a Ghostbuster.
Đéo
So
quen
the
biết gì
curtain
cũng
call
bro
comes
đô.
out, the Sanguine Blade's still going to be useful. Find Ghost Hunting. Maybe Ghost is going to be in the right position for that item to work.
The mortal way.
Probably not.
Well, it is Halloween.
Dual scepter of division.
Halloween soon.
Không. Quyền thì chết cao.
Fallen once already, but that was in that team fight from before. Hasn't been dove just yet as Canyon comes on through, but Keria in position, and Deft is rotating around as well. Turret plates, not too many of them. Actually go on either side. Then you can try trying to get out of there as the collateral damage not quite enough. This is why you press your potion button, ladies and gentlemen,
Well,
as Doran keeps himself alive.
that's why you have the Sanguine Blade too for the lifesteal.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Ah,
Yeah.
don't we look like fools?
Tí nữa luôn anh ơi, anh gửi giúp em giá luôn cái, rồi khoảng 30 phút nữa em nhắn tin lại cho.
Position, get themselves yet another good break so far inside of this game, and now they're still only down 500 gold.
Keeping themselves in it as this game goes on, but team fights are going to continue like the one that we saw earlier. Still going to be dicey for DRX, but that exchange towards the top side, and actually if Doran's going to be going for this build, getting him as far ahead as possible is going to be extremely valuable.
À.
DRX are going to lose another Rift Herald, surely.
Hay quá luôn. Còn mẹ.
Canyon might be able to make this one work. Second time's the charm.
Sight comes
Good to see how
before
healthy that mid-tier 1 turret is, and this is just a byproduct of how good Orianna is at keeping her turret alive.
in its
Wave
time.
clearing endlessly. Has the Archangels. Take a look at this replay. So the exhaust onto the cannon was there. And how clutch was it for Keria?
Your luck.
The casual 13 health walk away. Not bad at all. He's trying to bother Beryl a little bit as he puts down ward after ward.
Invisibility.
Control ward still going in here, making
Could it
sure they can
be
keep Deft as
otherwise?
safe as possible. Ghost pushing in yet another minion wave. Canyon turns up, that's the Hex Flash for Beryl. Look for his Zenith Blade. Sneaks away. 100% first
Là thua
turret
chưa?
so far here at Worlds.
Patience.
Shows how much early control
Now
they've
to
had
plan the proper
throughout these games.
application.
Thua rồi đúng không?
Try and do something to this turret, but it is extraordinarily healthy. The bottom lane, I feel, has just been
Ví dụ chứ không phải là thua à?
absent for a lot of this game. I feel out well enough. I mean, we are
I must bring the full empty time.
it's nice to have it affirmed that this is definitely LCK versus LCK. Even if these are some of our most aggressive teams that we have.
Hello Kitty.
The void
Just shows
path
that-
proceeds.
This game means
Yêu cái lồn như thế.
now the first
Tôi có yêu đời không?
going to shoot
Ông
it.
chắc ông
Nuguri teleports.
chắc ông nhầm tôi ra rồi chứ tôi có yêu đời đâu.
DRX are going to be able to go this time around. Off to the side, Arrow looking for a flank, and
Tôi chỉ nói là Hello Kitty thôi mà.
Kyoshin gonna be able to take the
Mà ông
Infernal
gọi
Drake.
tôi là yêu đời.
DRX just looking to try and get out of there to flash out. Doran is just gonna make sure that DRX can get out scot-free.
Ở tên của tôi là Nắng.
Canyon getting
Và tên của anh là Nắng để anh được làm mây trắng nhá.
minion wave. And DRX are gonna continue pushing by the looks.
Yeah, and getting that Infernal Dragon
Cái
is
lồn
a
như
really,
thế.
really
Slack
big
đồ
deal.
mang 11 phút Shadow Blade chứ.
Not only
À,
do they get
chú
some
Tào.
really for themselves, but they really close to just being able to buy those amplified
We'll see whether DRX can continue stacking these up. You mentioned that, you know, Dom 1, Infernal Soul going to be extraordinarily valuable. But DRX is exactly the same, right? Like, they have so many damage dealers that will be scaling beautifully with this Infernal Drake, and they have the potential of getting 4, which, I don't want to think about. That's too much damage. This Canyon is going to try again. Comes down in this mid lane and probably just here anyway, but he gets rid of half and goes Selfar as well. There is the charge. So Shirley will provide a bit of value, even if DRX's mid turret is still just below half health. It's not the end of the world here for them, as Deft is going to be able to take down the Brambleback and then head back up towards farming.
I must be attended.
Damwon, a lot of their gold lead right now is actually just inside of the turrets. So they're
What? Okay. Sometimes you've just got the serrated dirt and you do way too much damage. Doran picking off Ghost from the backside of that as I guess Chovy going to be patting himself on the back for that shockwave as well. As now Nogari's going to get the stun onto Carrier, who is going to be A-okay. But damn, I don't even see where that came from. Talking about, you know, being effective.
DRX are ahead right now inside of this game. At the Infernal fight in 2 minutes, they should likely be favored. And what you're looking for if you're a Damwon fan is, well, what kind of a slice of Maelstrom can Nuguri in with? Or can they manage to chain CC Pyoshik before he's able to get off his ultimate?
Yep, same can be said for Carrier as well. I mean, they do have a lot of protection benefits in their composition inside there. Lamps of Spite and Wild, whereas both of them can add a lot of longevity here for DRX. And they need it. They have no talent. They have no frontline. Everyone's squidgy. This is a classic DRX moment. No building around the ability to take damage. All they want to do is get
He did just get the red red buff and then immediately recalled, so not the best usage of the duration.
That's fine though, we do see that time to time. Opportunity for a fight. Damwon decided they don't want to take it. 35 seconds until the Infernal Drake. As Keria has to flash. Oh, you can see everyone's on edge.
It was always so.
And so now Keria not having his flash available, that can be very scary. Showmaker
No longer.
hanging out just on the outskirts of vision. No one knows about Beryl. And I don't know what DRX are doing right now with their posturing.
Looks like their priority is going to be on the top lane. But you can see all of the vision that Damwon have. They should be able to head just over to this Drake and pick it up. It's up in 3 seconds' time. Canyon's being mentioned, dodging shot blasts. Doran does so much damage, but he needs to connect the skill shots to make it work as we toggle the vision and see how dark it is for DRX.
Yeah,
With purpose.
DRX now, I mean, they're trying to hold a Phalanx.
Nogri's been so patient. There's the solo down pretty low. It is just going to be DRX giving this one up as Nogri looking for the fight potentially, but Beryl just going to get himself out of there with the flash. And now Soul Point is in for Damwon. Really good control of the area. That shot blast is going to land. Shadowwing is big, and that's going to get the Lamb's Respite out of the Kindred. Curtain Call coming forward. Do have a bit of vision as now Chovy. Fancy Feet comes through. His DDR skills are going to be enough. Courier, not so much. Catches one off the back end.
Yeah.
DRX will get out of there, and they don't get the
Lên đường
turret,
đam
and
gì?
they lose the Drake.
And so a lot of very weird decision making coming out
Cái
from
gì?
DRX right there. They were
The
constantly
void
grouped
path
up,
proceeds.
almost inviting Kennen to come in, but obviously Kennen seeing that he's not thinking, well, okay.
Must be attentive.
But then because
Cũng được mà không?
Damwon were the first ones that had control over
À,
the start.
nhiều meta rồi đó.
And unfortunately, for DRX, their team
Why
composition
choose
cannot
this
go
path?
bulldoze head first
Because
into
Thì sao
vision.
thắng được không?
So
Phải kịp.
Damwon now, they put the game in a very awkward position, so despite pretty much nothing happening this game,
Ta- tao đã có thể tưởng tượng được con nào của mình phải bóng bài với con như nào đó không?
Spellbinder through for Showmaker as well. And there's a pretty cool hat on this cannon. He just decided that he wasn't going to build this on his. He wanted to have as much damage for this soul fight as possible. And that hat is going to be the sort of play that's going to be basically the blast going gets himself to relative safety. His team. Throws out a shot block onto Showmaker, puts him on the net, and collateral damage. Takes it to 200 out there, needs a reset. Still confidence on the ground.
Có fan không? Stream không? Không đâu, thỏa mãn fan rồi. Mà Discord không?
champions to actually use these counters. But the only way that DRX can effectively win is if they have
Thua rồi đâu.
position and Oriana's
Fan đồng chứ đâu phải fan tôi
is
không ơi.
able to essentially act as one of the main bridges
The
of
void
connecting their
path
champions
proceeds.
to Damwon's range.
It's also going to be extraordinarily next fight as well. Massive speed cooldowns with that one, you know, unleash power comes out. to Deft.
No longer hidden.
4k cộng 100.
1 minute until that ends up coming up.
Do I choose this
200k
one,
không?
or does it choose me?
What is going to be the position? DRX now, they're trying to rotate over to it. Zoran has that Hex Drinker, he has another serrated Dirt. A lot of utility coming out by Pioshik. He has the Quicksilver Sash picked up. And so this is just going to mean that this Kindred is just pure utility inside of this team fight. And not able to really do a whole lot else in terms of having a wave down here in bottom, but it's only 20 seconds until the Inferno Dragon. I feel like the game might just get decided right here, Atlas.
Could potentially. Shockwave on cooldown as well. As Pioshik's going to get stunned up. Lancer Spike does go down though. That's going to keep him alive, but they need that for the team fights. The flash out of the Deadly Flourish. And there's the curtain call as the dragon is spawning. DRX completely zoned away from this area. It's just going to be free Infernal Soul for Damwon. Oh, I don't know about that Shockwave in the bottom lane. It whipped anyway, but even using it against just the cannon is probably not going to work. There's Damwon. A whole bunch of extra damage here, and now they're able to play the Baron Do-Si-Do if they would like to. Teleport back to Showmaker. He's starting to run away from DRX without really much happening.
Yeah, not anything really. I feel like, I mean, with the team composition that DRX has, Orianna has some wave clear, Caitlyn has a little bit as well, but their team composition is not one that is particularly good at resisting Baron sieges, especially not ones that are bolstered by Infernal Soul health now. This game just feels very, very, very doomed.
Yeah.
From the void.
Which is not something you say about a 2-2 kill score, 3 turrets to 1 style of game. But then you look at the Dragons, you have a look at the purple.
Not me, not me, not me.
And you look at all of the control that they've managed to have around all of their objectives. They've been there first, they've got the vision down, they've cleared the vision out. And it's just been a story of Damwon being better. Just in the macro sense, right? Even if there have been moments where DRX has had sick mechanics that they have. They've been a matter of these two. A solid game. Around exactly what they want to achieve in this game. Joey off to the side, looking for that sneaky Shockwave.
Yeah, he was looking to get maybe something onto Ghost right there. Not going to be able to find it. And we're just having a Do-Si-Do right now here.
They just don't really know what to do next. Star's going to go down towards the bottom side. DRX continue to bleed objectives. Collateral damage once again used for poke.
Without traveling.
Scat of the week just searching for any sort of pickoff. And Solar Flare to do exactly the same thing. Deadly Flourish does get the stun onto Chovy, who's down to half health. But this is all value for Damwon. This siege is going to continue. They're trying to get rid of it. Does so with the Peacemaker. Nicely done. Showmaker over the wall. I mean, there's just too much pressure.
This path, or does it choose me?
Raising a couple of turrets. 3.5 minutes until the Elder Dragon. Very
going to fall before they get there. As they are just giving away so many of these world, but you factor in the Infernal Soul, you factor in the fact that Damwon has so much control over every single thing on this map. DRX is just going slowly. where the Red Bull Baron power play was at the end, but it would have been close to about 3K. Looking at the top of our screen right now.
Other options are mere illusion.
Another Baron coming up in 2.5 minutes, and honestly, this is really feeling like you ever seen that image of the skeleton? Just waiting for kill. Do you know what the most important 50 goals is?
Unfortunately, it is not actually this one. Let's see whether we get any surprise anti-picks as the game. Derek's been so keen on for so long, and he will be able to collect it. A lot of shields. DRX have set up for an objective. Opportune moment. Kyoji gets popped. He had the Lamb's Respite, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to use it from the Death Chamber. And now DRX don't have a jungler, and there is an Elder Drake coming up in 20 seconds' time. That was an error.
That was a kill, actually.
Oh, sorry, yes. Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah. Just want to let you know that.
Thank you. I'm trying to make sure that I stay on top of it. As the Elder Drake does come down, DRX in a really awkward position.
Looks like
Teleport back
DRX.
from Doran.
Yeah, they're deciding that it's now or never for them.
Well, they need to make some sort of attempt to stop this from going down because they can't just continue bleeding objectives forever. Chovy moving over to the side. Deft actually frontlining at the moment. As the smoke screen goes down, the flash over. Chovy looks for the shockwave and misses. The flash out from Damwon.
But they managed to separate them a little bit. Never mind, Doran going on a little bit of an adventure. Here comes Pyosik, though.
Yeah, Nogri's gonna flash in. Massive slicing Maelstrom into the back line. The Lulu dies immediately. Doran gonna go down as well as there's the curtain call. Ghost looking for Chovy, but the Elder Drake is going to fall. And whether this Orianna gets away or not, Damwon will
Nghe là
put
hiểu.
themselves in a game-winning position.
Yeah, and now with the Elder Dragon, Solar Flare landed onto the Kindred, but Pyosik
Nghe là
has
hiểu
the
rồi đó.
QSS able to get away. They
Cần phải giải
probably
thích thêm.
are just going to move over to the Baron now. Canyon does have Smite up again for this, so should be able to go his way. Canyon's also 16 now, Pyosik 14. Just dancing inside of his jungle. Ghost's going to come over here and try to help him as well. And with Elder and Baron, it would take a miracle in order for DRX to come back inside of this game.
And they also have the Infernal Soul as well. Just a reminder, guys, the game with the least kills at Worlds so far this year had 11. And we've currently got 8. So definitely a lot of bloodlessness, but
Nào kèo bat thì bat một kèo thôi, đủ quá bat. Nào thích nhiều có nhiều kèo một game.
So what happens here is Beryl and Nuggery, I mean, they just get a perfect opening onto Deft and Friends right at the very top. Deft tries to get away with his net, but Canyon obviously there with the end of the line, the ricochet off the wall, bringing Deft down. Now it's a 10,000 gold lead to Infernal Dragon, Infernal Soul, Elder, and Baron.
Whoa, Deadly Flourish coming down. They're looking for Deft. He nets to get himself out of the way. This curtain call really starting to do damage as Carrier gets completely chunked. This is a 4-item Jhin. He does a lot of work. DRX now forced to go back. As Carrier not going to be there, don't want to fight a 4v5, and they will just forego their inhibitor turret. They can't just continue sacrificing objectives, but unfortunately, they're just too far behind at this point in the game. Too many buffs circling Damwon. Still 39 seconds on the Elder Drake. Has 2 inhibitors in the blink of an eye and a teleport towards the top lane. Yeah, Showmaker in there, he'll push this one out, and they're looking for 3.
Well, 2 inhibitors, They're rotating up into top lane, looking to raise this final turret. Pyosik just getting tagged. Even the Graves smoke screen, actually.
I know, this is like a poke Graves.
Yeah.
I guess lethality is going to help you out there, but he's been using his collateral damage just to soften up his opponents so far this game. It's been working. Beryl getting caught out of position for the moment, but he will survive. And Damwon still pressing forward. Deft, half health. Pyosik the same, as is Keria. This is going to be the hat trick of inhibitors on the one Baron and Elder push. Elder has just dissipated.
Lót sen hay không đó hả? Lớn thằng kia nó pick Vertigo lần lượt lót sen lên đường ấy.
Nagari looking for his moment. Pyosik going down very, very low. Dances out of the way of the deadly flourish. Someone continue to press forward. This Nexus turret goes down immediately as now Pyosik standing on his Lamb's Respite, but immediately he's
Mày không biết game gì ra đây đi Mao nè, hoặc là Deepest Brown nè. Deepest Brown có map được chưa? Map một Vertigo kìa. Deepest Brown. Chụp map 1 Nippic Vertigo. Nhưng mà thằng Shroud lại biết bắn Vertigo. Cái over thôi.
It wasn't the most dominating game that people were probably expecting to open up this series,
Deep
but
với cả
it was
thằng
definitely a stable.
Shroud kìa.
They didn't give up control anywhere. They didn't
Tao vừa kêu Nippic Vertigo, Shroud biết bắn Vertigo, ông còn hỏi tao trận nào.
Close encounters like the one up in top lane, but DRX, it just felt like they couldn't do anything. If Chovy isn't going to be enabled in this series, which in this matchup with this jungle dynamic, he's not going to be able to, I don't know what they're supposed to do because they need him if they want to win.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, it felt like DRX got to a point where they felt like they were going to be able to scale and get themselves in there, but then lost all ability to figure out what to do next. They weren't able to set up for objectives. The early game was extremely close. They had windows, but then Beryl's there with absolutely fantastic vision control and things like that. And ladies and gentlemen, let's have a look at Damwon's Mercedes drive to victory. It wasn't, of course, that Elder Drake fight that they were able to take complete control of. And it felt like at this point, DRX were just too desperate.
No, this was definitely quite rough, Atlas.
Yeah.
It was them posturing, their hand was forced, they were against Infernal Soul. They knew that it's now or never, and remember, they didn't have Pyosik.
Exactly.
He was on his way from the base, Deft just got caught, and not really much they could do.
Vitality pick Nook.
Ghost had an actually fantastic game as well.
Đùa bố mày chắc về.
They got that first roam up. He wasn't necessarily the one that benefited the most, but he
Tao bảo rồi giải Flash Boy là giải nó giống bài hiểu không? Còn tao chắc chắn là chắc thế mà nó kiểu nó bắn throw nó giống bài ấy, nó không muốn try hát ấy, hiểu không? Để nó vào giải này nó try hát nè. Cái thằng lồn Godsend tao nghĩ đúng mà. Làm gì mà thua cái độ đấy. Kèo nào Godsend đó hả? Tao nghĩ là pick Godsend đấy, nếu mà nó tự tin pick map thì tức là nó biết bắn á. Mày không thấy không qua thằng PP. Thằng PP rep thằng gội so ở cái map Vertigo à? Tao nghĩ thằng riêng rep thôi.
Ông kia đụng Valo bất tử à? Qua thấy toàn đụng 500 mấy Valo vẫn câu Valo best luôn. Chứ sao hôm qua đụng mới Valo rồi lên 500 mấy dữ vậy? Má đỉnh. Kìa. Hai cái tàu dòng kìa. Hình nó gửi đụng má cái trừ 500, cái trừ 110 kìa. Thì là thua đó. Thì ý là đâu ra hôm qua tôi tưởng ông nó đi rồi mà ông đó vẫn còn sống đâu quét lên nhiêu đó luôn hả? Má ông này quét kìa. Qua luôn thanh xanh phải liền.
Hey Mercedes, legends run wild, each one unique, with astonishing power, unstoppable, master
warriors, là cái map rồi trong
ready
mấy
to compete, seeking glory.
Tòa nhà.
We live it, we breathe it, we have each other's back. Together, we become legends, icons of a new generation.
Make your own. Zeus is here.
À,
Prepare for battle. Very good.
Zeus, can you come here? I share your tango. Come here, come here. Okay.
A position.
Phát xong kia là ông kia stream. Ông nhưng mà ông kia stream với tên ấy mà ông dám mở mic là ông nói luôn là vậy. Hiểu rồi hả? Tôi tưởng đánh kèo.
Your prayer.
Tôi tưởng ông đánh kèo của bên VK thì ông hay lì. Với chim mồ nhiều quá luôn.
Chào mọi người, mình là Hoàng Huy.
Mình cũng là Hoàng Huy. Huy 1 và Huy 2. Còn mà Huy đâu à? Đấy mới sinh luôn vậy. Bé thủ luôn hả? Cái lùn má nó ghê vậy, động bé à? Chừng nào tới dấu. Ui quái bẩn hả? Đồ quá 6 thanh cao luôn hả? Thôi ông đủ má, ông chùm luôn chứ, ông nói gì ai?
Em tầm tuần sau em.
A
Ông
position.
vừa đánh, ông vừa bét thì đủ, ông là thần con mẹ rồi chứ.
Your prayer answered.
Tóc xanh à? Đủ má, ông đó,
Sound advice.
ông đó là đủ má. Đủ ta cơm máu gạo tiền mà ông đủ má còn con còn cái nữa, mà ông dám tin thì ông cũng lì.
cái gì? Ông chơi TA hả? Chơi chết hả? Bữa nay tầm lock thôi chứ còn cái lồn gì nữa. Chết mẹ nó thì cười cái. Tao rồi.
Một đánh răng gì á thì
À đau lưng qua đi mà đã đến tôi tao nữa. Nghỉ.
Position of power.
Mai reset răng ở mấy ông? Không có luôn hả? Là mai reset gì không?
Divine invasion.
Reset mechanic
sao
kìa.
em không nghe nhạc ở đâu rồi thầy.
Sound.
Tôi tắt cái stream của nó là tôi hết nghe nhạc rồi mà.
Cái ghế là cái cha đúng không ta?
Welcome back everyone to the State Farm Analyst Desk after a controlled victory from Damwon over
Ủa,
DRX.
em tắt stream nó luôn rồi nè.
Well, it didn't for
Vậy là ông
DRX.
còn mở cái gì ngoài Facebook đó, ông chết coi.
To be honest, we're gonna go over the specific
Ông muốn
moments
chắc không
I
tắt
watched
mẹ nó cái trình duyệt luôn đi.
because it was also super contentious because we saw
Lô,
how badly
má nó ẩn ở đâu vậy?
in the summer finals.
Đúng
What did
không?
you think of what they came up with here?
Sao luôn tao hát gì vậy?
À đây thì con mẹ mày đi con. Dạ.
Well, question though, I was in the green room.
Your
I
prayer
didn't hear any of that. I heard
Quái
this is
luôn.
actually
Có
fine.
giải liên minh.
This
Chi
is
vậy?
not. This is okay.
Bao giờ Goro liên minh vậy?
Đúng má, bét liên minh, coi liên minh là để nó bét không? Đúng má gì đâu.
Đầu
Cái
tiên
con-
nó kêu nó thấy liên minh hay mà.
Thôi hay cái gì rồi đó ông ơi, bỏ đi.
Hay à?
30 phút 2 đều thì hay cái gì? Để tôi nghe cái. Chứ 20 phút mà 30 phút mà 2 đều thì cho tôi hỏi cái hay.
Đừng đá banh thôi cha.
Phải lộn sao đủ má ông có thể so sánh được em bộ môn đó, cái bộ môn bánh đa được. Kéo Lan Quyên đúng không?
Đừng nghe. Chứ bet kèo under over 5 kill.
Đủ quá thì tôi thấy có nhiều kèo under over 5 kill tới lúc hết game vẫn chưa xong mà vẫn không nổ 5 kill là trả kèo luôn á, có mà. Đủ quá cái game đó là game tính theo đồ, đủ quá nó farm xong ra đánh một combat một thôi là em nghe luôn.
or maybe you become Maokai 5th because tanks are
Tôi
very
chưa
good
hiểu lắm đủ má trò chơi đó.
but it just didn't happen. Instead, you just had
Trò
5
chơi
range
cuộc đời
champions
cho
against 5 other
Chơi
range
nghe
champions.
cũng ác phải lồn đủ má đánh đúng một combat một kèm game.
Leona that can lead the charge into the river, you know, and take vision for your team. So by having all of these ranged champions, yes, they work well when you're playing backward, but you eventually have to step in around dragons, around barons, these big objectives.
And that was what it was going to be all about. And we talked about the fact that there wasn't that much action straight off the bat in terms of kills, but you talked about Damwon being very
Đủ không chị
precise
anh nữa.
when they take
Mua đi block luôn cho nó sợ.
Herald fight is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, for sure. I think if we have the replay up, I think this showcase them just choosing their fight. I think their champion is much stronger at this point in time. DRX's champions need a little bit more time to scale. In these positions, a lot of people just like to go for the play bottom side where you trade a couple of plates. The end didn't miss all the way, but now when we're hiding the fog of war before DRX showed, so it was a decent play. This is just DRX just falling into the same pattern, just taking fights over and over because they have one gear.
Yeah, and you see right there how Damwon wants to start off every fight. They want to use Syndra and Leona to down.
Thằng kia chửi cha mẹ được kìa.
We said it is one of Kyoshik's favorite champions and comfort champions, and it actually can do well. He's picked it into the grade plenty of times, but now you get a situation where you get bullied out of the jungle. There's an
Trời đủ quá kìa em lướt ác kìa.
that all of a sudden you lose that pressure as well, and it just seems to me that Damwon has showed you can get away with playing that situation against other teams, but not versus us. How does that change the dynamic of this jungle?
Well, it's pretty rough because this was, you know, Kyoshi's key. Lock it in, no problem. It's kind of like first round of a fight, punch someone in the head, and then rather than the rest of the series. I think it's hard to make adjustments on the fly, but on looking on that side, they didn't look as precise as they did past the World Cup of game. Got slip-ups with the dives and maybe a dragon as well.
Oh, really? Well, let's take a look at the dragons. I think that's something we want to hear because you want to think that DRX has more opportunities, right?
So starting off with this, it's really important. This is the first Infernal Drake that's won the third Drake of the game. DRX already have control in the river. So as they're going to be the ones to get onto the dragon, can go ahead and play the flip from this point. When they are first to river,
Tôi sao đủ quá tự nhiên có cái clip thật tôi là Hoàng Huy đây vậy. Clip đâu ra vậy?
Thì trên đến YouTube nói chứ đâu.
Quá lộn Tấu Hải vậy.
Của tôi là xem phim mà đi du lịch.
Ủa mà sao nó học trường cao đẳng Sona DG? Tao tưởng nó học Đại học Đồng Nai chứ, phải phải hả?
Đại học Đồng Nai là đâu vậy?
Biên Hòa chứ đâu em?
Biên Hòa mà là đại học Tell me why.
Thì đủ quá thì là Đại học Đồng Nai, nhưng mà Biên Hòa, thành phố Biên Hòa của tỉnh Đồng Nai.
Thành phố à? Biên Hòa là thành phố à?
Biên Hòa thành phố. Biên Hòa là thành phố trực thuộc tỉnh.
And it just looked like once Damwon won that first fight, then eventually also got that third point that seemed to be a lot of time. I just want to hear from one of you, I don't care who takes it. You said that you saw a couple of things that Damwon did not execute to perfection, and it's going to be a tall order. But what is one thing you want to see from DRX in game 2 that could
Quá tao thấy rất vui là một người mỏ chu là đủ quá, mấy kia là đủ má đó. Cái quả cuối kìa rất vui là mọi người xong mỏ chu ra rồi chuẩn bị nó chửi đủ má đó. Phải lộn 4 năm trước luôn mà.
My
My thanks to thee.
Templar missing. Templar going bot. Care Magnus.
Risk this ultimate price. To battle.
I don't really consider it here. It blurs the line between and reality.
Yes.
Sometimes I can't tell myself from my machine. I think that's by design.
To battle.
Tụi má nhớ ulti chết mày nè.
Very good. I ordain it. I'm not ready. It's not time yet. Your prayer and
We can kill the edges. Go just go.
Mình đi lên đường kìa.
face up to your mortality. Natural price.
Yeah.
Sound advice. Haven't seen one bounty.
Go. Care bomb here, care, bomb here.
I can do
I have ulti just, you can do the
your prayer and
go.
Mà chung cái thế giới năm nay nó làm ở đâu vậy?
Trung Quốc chơi đâu? Năm nay chơi Trung Quốc em.
Trung Quốc hả? Năm nào cũng Trung Quốc luôn hả? Năm nào cũng Trung Quốc. Lộn không vậy?
Thì trụ sở của Tencent là ở Trung Quốc mà. Có mấy cái dòng loại vớ vẩn em.
Cùng mà cha nó mới mua gần đây mà. Ủa? Phải luôn, năm nào cũng Trung Quốc rồi chứ. Phải luôn. Má năm nào cũng Trung Quốc, cái Mỹ vậy cha.
Tao lâm lồn cũng ở Trung Quốc ấy.
it's not time.
Em mới nghe Tencent nó mới mua gần đây thôi mà. Má làm gì mà nó tổ chức Trung Quốc mấy năm trời. Đủ má, tụi Trung Quốc cũng dám muốn mua luôn cái này Vocal nữa, nhưng mà đéo mua được gà béo.
Nature abhors yes.
I'm FTP. From here.
Không quá đợi. Pháp.
Your prayer and look to your top tower. I ordain it. Sound.
Go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 2, Damwon versus DRX. Damwon remain undefeated on the blue side for the last 25 games. Now DRX are going to be wearing blue, much are their team colors. So maybe this will give them an opportunity, LS, to get themselves a win. We are straight into Champion Select. We're not messing around here. And already all of the bans have come through. Syndra, Camille, and Lilia all taken away by DRX. And there is Nectin, Caitlyn, and Lucian.
Just ulti now.
Damwon, and that will leave up
Bán hết đồ mua refresh đâu.
For DRX, let's see how Damwon wants to respond to this now. This is
is available.
Yeah, TF is available. Graves just gonna get locked in.
What have you done?
Cái lồn cái đủ quá nữa cây máu.
Lồn ở The Lost rồi quá giơ tay nhìn mệt thôi.
Thua rồi đó.
Ủa là sao? Thằng Ớt nó mới đá thằng Underlord đi à?
Đúng rồi.
Cái đó cũng dễ lộn mà. Đặt đá xuống mày bấm lộn vô. Không có đá. Mà thằng đó biết đánh mà. Trông biết đánh mà. Lộn tí hay gì ghê.
Ê ông Tiến ơi, HLTV bị ngu không? Thực ra là map 1 là thằng so pick á. Ông phải đảo lại hết đi. Là Mao pick map 1, Vitality pick map 2 không? À đây này, nó đổi lại bên Mao là nó đổi thành Mao pick này nè. Thì lại rồi. Tiền rồi không? Không không. Đang vào con sen à? Nhìn tí đâu này? Đâu còn con đó? Đâu còn con đó cứ cho con trắng được con mắt tôm không?
Chuyện thầm ác ta.
Má Win of Band mà chơi với Invo lửa thì má nâng mắt gì mà đấm nó trời. Đèn gậy lốc đầu tiên.
Leon, come. I have smoke. We can kill someone. Come.
The thing is about the Kalista ban is I think that they're acknowledging that
let me do it.
Lít. Lồng lết lên đường rồi đó. Kết. Sao tự nhiên lộn mấy châu lạ từ vậy? Bây giờ có lưỡi lắm mà. Nó có mới mua trong phút à?
So far in the group stage, really utilizing that particular combo to great effect. The center can play really far up, and that's how he was able to achieve
Đừng có lọt ca chắc được ai chứ.
being an extraordinary ace. It's being considered by Doran. That's going to be his option, and that will be locked away here for DRX, who are continuing in more of a split-pushing vibe, much like that Sacred Blade led us to believe.
And this is where a champion like Ziggs ends up being pretty much the nuts down in bot lane, because if you let Damwon win bot, they have control in mid. Deal more true damage in the later stages of the game because no one can get armor. But no, we're gonna see Aphelios come out for Damwon.
We saw Ruler play this to pretty great effect for Gen G. Looking forward to seeing whether Ghost is going to be able to have a similar performance. Hasn't necessarily been his MO, because this is looking like a composition where Ghost is going to be relied upon a lot. But his team is great. He's number one. And so why not give him a little bit more agency to rely on him a little bit more to get that late game damage down? This is looking like a very well-rounded composition out of Damwon, but DRX They're rolling the dice and seeing what it comes up with. Jack's in a side lane, he can get out of control, especially if he has the assistance of Pyosik around this map. And let's just see whether it's going to be once again Canyon dictating all of the moves at the beginning of this game.
The scariest thing for me is that the mid lane that looks showing for an advisor. What that means for Canyon is quite a lot, because Pyosik is going to have a little bit of a hard time playing. Jax is a very interesting insurance policy now for the DRX team composition, and no matter how you look at it, this draft is much closer than the one in the game. So DRX, they have a lot more fighting power. Things can definitely go their way and become very explosive, and they have a lot more options available to them in this one.
The thing that I'm scared about is this Twisted Fate. We've seen him be so successful, especially in the hands of Showmaker or Chovy. And I was expecting that to be banned in almost every single game. Coming into Worlds, coming into this series, not to be the case. This is going to be the gamble that DRX
Đi có đánh không vậy?
for game number 2. Something that DRX do a lot, especially
Cái lồn vậy đủ má bài tập về nhà Hoàng Huy.
with wonderful ideas, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Ta đang xem cái lồn vậy bay.
Bài tập dừng ra.
Getting away the Twisted Fate is something that they can capitalize on, whether this means that Pyosik is going to be helping
Sở thích của mình là chơi game và bức răng.
whether it is going to give a bit of that
Mình không vui khi gặp các bạn.
honestly, DRX cannot afford to give away again.
Răng bao nhiêu là thấp nhất vậy?
So much more proactivity out of this team. We need to see so much more vision control.
Game sao có một tiếng. Kèm phải đánh solo hả?
Are the best team so far statistically at Worlds when it comes to taking objectives.
Ta.
But DRX needs to challenge them like a little bit, please.
Đủ mất cộng trăm mà đánh solo.
Heralds in the early game, all of the dragons in the early game.
À.
Managed to get that one infernal, but honestly the damage has been done. Now on the red side, their win rate there is still pretty good, but not as perfect as their win rate over the last many games on blue side.
And DRX, we take a look at the rune setup.
Mèo tiếu cho anh lên mua gì?
Predator on Galio again.
Yep, it's going to be a conqueror Nidalee as well.
Yeah, a very interesting choice there, because I wouldn't imagine Pyosik to want to be having extended brawls.
Vũ có đánh không vậy?
Any of the members on the side of
Có.
Dawn, especially Nidalee's role
Chưa ăn.
in the early
Đặt
and
đồ
mid
ăn
stages
ăn.
of the game. So
Ăn gì? Tao 5 xe. 5 cây chồng. Tao 2 cà tá. Được bơm. Cái level 11. Ủa ma mờ xanh vậy?
It's feeling a little bit more wide open.
Xạo. Không không. Lười.
And then not too much more, but the pool just hasn't really been challenged all that much. And Felios is going to come out. The reason we saw it in Gen G games is because it was a big deal. That's why you see a few more bands heading this way.
Regeneration.
Ghost and Barrel are going to do down here with the spotlight and on Kench. They don't really yeah. One of the interesting things was him starting with Sapphire
Học
Crystal
tại
and Refillable Potion.
Niềm tin rất mình là chơi game.
Just how confident he is in his own safety.
Ở lồng 4 năm trước luôn.
Also confident
Sona để dây nhau. Đồ má.
against Ghost as well, despite our game one
Đừng
win.
cái đi ăn lại đi, đánh.
He's been able to use quite a lot over his career. Hasn't really had too many issues with until the start of the season of LCK 2020. Pyosik looking to hard farm his jungle. Ahead by a little bit as far as our clear speed at this point in time, but no, actually Canyon is Pyosik just getting Raptors were taken there by Canyon. He's just going from camp to camp.
Just Cooper, juice.
Very
And I mean, he's on his golems already. He's full clear. Pyosik just getting done with the round. Moving towards the left-hand side. And Joey's actually done a very good job
We can
in this
push bot.
lane. All things considered, he actually managed to get Cryo over the TF early on, and so...
Yeah, going to be able to move up and stop Canyon from taking the Valkyrie has inside track, but it is a 2 versus 3. Flash is going out everywhere. Gets himself out of there. Teleport to come through from Showmaker. Now it's a 3v3 as Pyoshik out of the way, but the DRX. First little skirmish.
Yeah, and Doran, one of the downsides for him is he ends up blowing his flash, and he also misses a bit of CS up in top lane, and so that can come back to bite him later, especially because he's the scaling one. We're not going to talk about that.
A position of
I think I was just expecting to get the empowered pounce, but not actually landing.
It was attempting to interrupt
fair and
with the sonic boom.
It's the long con.
See, I got a thumbs up.
Yeah.
You heard me.
Wait me.
Go luôn đi cũng được. Xíu vào đoạn tôi xuống lấy đồ ăn.
Do we remove the naming convention of MVP?
True.
Still the MVP.
That is actually true, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
I
He was
can-
already
I
there,
can aim
so he fits in
Winter.
that one as well. As Doran looks for a stun, but it's a great use of the Bellows Breath as he flashes aggressively.
Winter Bird.
He's like, what are you doing there, buddy? That's Doggery stuff right there.
That was very
Okay, no winter.
unfortunate.
We can go.
From a mechanical standpoint, Canyon.
Yeah.
We can go, no winter.
Not aggressive here is Carrier. Feeling a bit hungry.
a fitting balance.
Okay, I'm go.
Deft is going to be the one
Very
who's
Go.
the one's going to trying to deny as much as
They have very slight CS advantages everywhere, and that's why Cold Lead is still really that for DRX. But this is definitely not the kind of early game opening that I was anticipating.
Winter.
To see what was going on there. Because a lot of stuff has to be influenced by the minions and the auto attacks by Showmaker with the aggro.
Careful.
Early stages, because right now everything's going
You
somewhat
can take
fine for DRX.
Yeah, and I think like you were talking about, I mean, we were worried about Chovy because he picked the Galio into the Twisted Fate.
Lòng cái răng lẹ đi. Tao nói là cứ chơi đi, tao đặt đồ ăn về mà. Xíu tao xuống lấy đồ ăn thôi.
Ủa vậy hả? Vô.
Tao mới nói vậy mà. Không nghe.
Không. Không luôn. Không. Tôi vô phụ anh nuôi vô. Không. Gì không lấy tiền không? Không.
Anh luôn.
Không. Không à? Là không hay có.
Chỉ biết cười.
Không hay có.
Không hay có hay không?
Vô phụ anh xíu coi. Để mau đưa nè.
Phụ anh mau đưa rồi. Má anh lồng cũng bán gì chứ.
Thiệt mà. Nói chuyện nghiêm túc á. Nghiêm túc này nghiêm túc rồi.
Tao không còn vui tính như xưa đâu hả? Tiên đánh dữ trời.
No.
Trời, má Nam mời đánh dữ thiệt. Má team bên này toàn thợ không chứ không phải là nhâm nhựa đâu.
As DRX, so the junglers right now, they don't really have
Này Mr này chắc ngày đánh ngàn răng chứ mẹ con ba team thợ không đánh chắc lòng.
Đục mắt từ bữa giờ khách không đụng vô chặt này luôn. Có khi đánh chạy răng sớm.
Sao giống ạc A quá vậy?
Quen hả? Nghe là đón luôn hả?
Tôi
Ác
chưa
mà.
mời tôi biết luôn, nó đủ quá biết liền mà.
Chưa mời là biết luôn à.
Anh này khách luộc quanh cu em hả?
I think we can Roshan bro.
Ủa sao đủ lúc lậu nó hạt không, nó quanh quẩn 5k vậy? À, đánh xuống hả?
Đâu nó không đánh á, đâu đánh đâu. Tao đánh không ạ?
The alternative would obviously be shoves in the wave, goes over the blue, gets it. We go back into a little bit of a mini hold state as Destiny is now back to cooldown. Galio does not have his ultimate, doesn't have a predator available either.
Are you saying that you're not expecting
Mở hòm giùm nó luôn coi.
because Beryl, he wants to say no.
Gì được?
LS, Noguri with full control of this minion wave. CS have been pushed by falling down early.
Má mở hòm chết cho nó ra cái độ má cùng một tím chắc tao cắn lưỡi luôn mày.
Shelly being considered late. DRX will be able to some of these neutral objective statistics that they have put together for themselves.
Hôm nay không ai đánh nào, Huy không đánh nào, Huy Du cũng không đánh luôn. Mưa mặn lát quá ta.
This is definitely a loss, I think, for DRX, all things considered. You open up and accelerate top lane, and now Jax has to walk up further in order to interact with Ornn. Just doesn't make any sense, because Ornn is going to get so many Graves going to get a lot of damage as well. Twisted Fate, already a champion that is most mages, and this just feels really but one of the interesting things that I was right about. So Ghost right now, maybe feeling like he wants to just make sure that he gets the turn. Go, 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 go! Traditionally, it's really hard to get stacks on this as AD carry, so way later on in the game. You can just move on over and you can pick up those stacks really easily. May not have been considered at that time. This Chovy's just as punchy himself towards the top. We've just got mid laners in the top lane instead. Infinity Edge complete here for Ghost. The Aphelios in a pretty good spot right now with a gigantic CS advantage based on that movement like you called it out. Ghost definitely the benefit of that one. And you can see just a little bit. Yoshi walking away from Canyon.
Hết mana, mời chết luôn. Bẹp chết lên.
Probably still quite a ways away.
Không hiểu ta lên 20 tạo cái bóng trong khi Blink có cái lồn gì mạnh mà mấy lồn kia nó cứ lấy cái đó ta. Ngon gì trời, không biết ngon. Gì vậy? Trừ 2 giây Blink không ngon à? Cơ động vãi lồn luôn. Bỏ cái tất sinh AC được. Thì đúng rồi, cái default lên thì đúng là tình huống thiệt. Có cái crit lên là nhắm cứt mà. Thì đó.
See whether DRX have gone back, spoken to CB Max about what they need to change, and I think proactivity in this late game is going to be very key. 100 gold worth of plays for DRX, but 960. So you have to look at where that money went as well. Most of it is sitting on first.
Không à.
Ủa, nhưng mà đang nói vụ gì? Nói vụ gì mà có Timber trận chung kết TI hả? Hai bả, hai bả rồi. Đúng rồi.
Gặp mấy thằng ngu lồn giải thích theo kiểu gì? Vì Gyro có chiêu 3 bắn lan nên lên default tất cả hero bắn lan bị mất mana.
Có thằng nào như thế luôn.
Còn thích đủ má giải thích nữa.
Có thằng nào thế được luôn rồi.
Đủ má đã ngu còn thích giải thích nữa chứ mẹ.
Nhưng mà đâu rồi, tác tôi vô cái được không?
Lâu rồi không, từ cái hồi mà thằng Tất Sinh nó giải thích á, xong có thằng lồn nó vô nói câu đó đó. Xong cái anh cười vô mặt nó luôn. Mẹ nó đã ngu còn mày đặt đi giải thích, mệt phải luôn.
Bên hay phải luôn.
Chứ đủ má đéo biết thì im mẹ thì nghe người ta giải thích. Nào biết thì vô bắt lỗi. Đéo biết còn đủ má ngồi đủ má dạy người ta nghe mệt phải cắt. Khi ba Gyro bật lên tất cả mục tiêu trong đó bị mất mana. Nghe cũng đủ má địch vô mặt nó ghê. Xong rồi đủ má còn khen đủ má tấp sinh đủ má não to trừ tất cả hero đủ má từ mana tất cả hero mệt quá lộn mày.
Nhưng mà vẫn cứ là đủ má hay quá rồi.
Cái pha đó là thì đúng là cái đó là nó gây khó chịu con BB thì mà chủ yếu là con AO với con Tiny Timber kìa. Ba con lồn đâm phép to quá, tầm đó mid game mà tụi kia đâu có gì chống bắn phép đâu. Đâm phép từ ba con đó to quá, con AO nó cầm cái gậy xanh ra mới là vấn đề chứ.
Timber đâm cua mày.
Khúc đó vẫn mạnh mà, cái khúc mà lên 2 round của team Liquid vẫn mạnh mà.
Thì tụi nó đâu có kháng phép đâu, thì bởi vì tụi kia mới bật lại là nhờ cái con AO với con Timber đó. Timber lên về máu luôn đó. Tiny nữa, Tiny lúc đó có Blink nè.
Tiny Blink tốt thằng gác vô luôn, tốt ếch vô, ếch không kịp làm gì chết con mẹ luôn. 4m5 xong lao ra đánh nhau thôi.
Chứ đâu phải là do cái default hoàn toàn đâu, mấy lồn cái tung hô nhiều với lồn. Nghe mất tỉa.
Thì vẫn cứ là hay đây rồi.
Thì hay nhưng mà đéo nổi, đéo đánh trụ má.
Phế con mạng BB con bát luôn mà.
Thì đó chủ yếu là quan trọng là cái đó là làm cho con BB nó phế thôi. Chứ mấy lồn khác là do tụi IO Timber để Tiny làm mà. Liên quan đéo gì đâu.
Nhưng mà Timber đâm cua mà.
You ever drop your phone and break it, get a new one, and then drop it again and break it?
Yep, okay. I've done that. It's not, it doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't.
Definitely doesn't feel good.
Gọi là 2 round đủ má lồng Zerat vô, mẹ Blink ra tốt luôn, cái hack vô chết con mẹ luôn.
versus the Infernal.
Nhìn lồn nhìn Atazi đánh voi Sirius ỉa rồi đặt bóng hụt không.
Don't know what I'm seeing on Jax. I see a Kindle gem, and I'm starting to get some bad mojo.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh no.
We're going places with this one.
Yeah, I think I know whose name is on the front door of this particular establishment,
Absolutely.
LS, and I don't want to talk about him. I don't want to talk about him.
Damwon on the flip side, though. Already have the IE on Aphelios, almost has the second card. Was the Lichbane second for Showmaker, and so I'm interested to see if he's going to try to go for the Death Crown as his next choice.
Hoping for a Magi's first, personally. Okay, bit of a fight over the Bramble back as the taunt looking to try and come through here. Destiny goes down, Pyosik trying to get himself out of there, does so with the pounce as the heroic entrance comes in, but immediately it's interrupted. 4-man knockup from Noguri on the backside, but Doran is ripping apart Damwon and looking to try and escape. Showmaker gets in, but he gets stunned by the counter
Điếm kìa, đợi anh vô xài lóc xong rồi mới bật cái bình bottle hết tên lên.
In the end, it's a very even trade. I think it's DRX that came out on top as in goes Pyosik, wanting to take down Noguri, but it's Carrier that licks him to death over the side. Deft gets over there, takes down Ghost, and now Showmaker against the world. Deft wrapping around. Gold card has been locked for Showmaker here, but a 1 versus 3, not looking like something they're going to be able to do here as the Piercing Darkness comes down, and Deft just needs one more auto, and he will be able to take this one out. 6-2 in favor of DRX.
DRX with that fight, they catapult themselves into the driver's seat now in this game. They're the ones with the advantage, and they were sitting on some major core item completions. All of this started over a red buff Canyon. He got caught by Chovy. Doran was able to get on top of him. Beryl didn't have a stopwatch available inside of this fight. Not that it was going to matter all that much. Showmaker a little bit late on the pull with the gold card. Otherwise, Nuguri might have been able to help him bring down Doran and conserve his flash right here. They go back in for no reason. Nuguri gets tagged by a sphere. He tries to headbutt into the wall to knock up Pyosik on his leap. Not quite able to do so. Deft goes over the wall, picks up the kills, and when all is said and done, DRX, they now have the gold lead, and they're going to be the ones in the driver's seat at least for the next couple of minutes. Damwon, they really need to bide their time for the ornaments to come in, wait for major core item completions. Ghost, he was sitting on Runons inside of that fight, but didn't yet have it completed.
Yeah, he had the gold, but couldn't actually put it together. You're exactly right.
Ooh.
Definitely a worry. Pyosik fishing for some spears off to the side as we've got 35 seconds on the first Ocean Drake of the game. Pharaoh clearing out vision. Damwon feels like for the first time on the back foot, but not that much. I mean, it's 1.6k. As far as gold is concerned, not really a huge deal. And I want to alert you to something else as well. Noguri is now on 0-2.
Ooh.
Let that sink in.
Power spike is here.
It is indeed. Let's see whether it works out. He did get that 4-man knockup, which was pretty damn strong in the last team fight, but Doran was ripping apart the backline at that point in time. It worked out very well for DRX. This Drake looking to just belong DRX right now. Pyosik just going to be taking that one down by himself. Split pushing is Showmaker, is now the rest of Damwon looking for an engagement. No on the turret, remember, as Carrier finding himself a tongue lash. No, not quite. On to Ghost. Takes a lantern to get himself to safety. Ocean Drake in the meantime going to be taken, and DRX now trading up in these small scuffles and skirmishes. The opposite of what was happening in game number 1, where any sort of interaction between the two teams, it was always Damwon coming out ahead.
Yeah. Damwon were always the ones who were coming out with these slight edges time and time again, and then just eventually letting the game collapse onto them. Getting an update on Senna here, 42 souls, 55% crit for Deft. Here at almost 23 minutes. Nuguri has hit 13. Canyon, I imagine, very close to the Black Cleaver completion. Looks like Rapid Fire Cannon gonna be the next item for Showmaker, and so there is still time. There's 2 ornaments that are on the side of Damwon that are gonna be able to be upgraded as soon as Warren starts hitting his levels. And they're really gonna need that in order to have more edges stacked up for them Because DRX, they're in a very comfortable position. Doran, he almost has the Trinity Force completed.
Yeah, actually just sitting on that Kindle Gem for the extra CDR. So, wasn't deciding to build into the Black Cleaver. Maybe just wanted to have, you know, the CDR right then and there. I'm glad he didn't collect himself the Black Cleaver though. Much prefer the Trinity Force on the Jax. And there it is. Now it's completed. Blade of the Ruin King and Trinity Force. Big power spike for the Jax. As Canyon takes a fair bit of damage from the Baron there.
Yep.
Gets out with a quick draw though. 1,000 gold going to be the lead here for DRX.
And in terms of levels right now, Ghost is even with Deft. Canyon, I believe, is down 1 level. But then everyone else is pretty much even. We take a look at the vision score right now. Pyosik and Keria doing a pretty good job. Beryl and Canyon trailing ever so slightly.
This is a lot of vision control actually that Pyosik's been able to put down this game as well. And it might explain why DRX have been able to actually find themselves some objectives.
Mới gửi mail hả?
Able to.
Thấy rồi.
Ghost has Crescendum Calibrum right now. Exactly when he needs it. Fair bit of ammo left on that one as well, as there's the Ornhorn. Noguri looks for the knock-up onto Keria, as he doesn't get it with the Searing Charge. Oh my goodness, so many roots, but Damwon are going to escape for the minute. Ghost on half health, the rest of Damwon have turned up. DRX are pushing forward. Wildcards do not find anyone here, as Doran in the meantime is just on the bottom side, pushing forward. Noguri gonna get spotted on that ward as the Searing Charge avoided beautifully by Doran there. Now looking for the 1v1, but there is a turret.
Yep.
In a pretty good position. Bramblevest as well helping Noguri in these trades, but not quite enough as you can see. Collateral damage, not gonna be enough to keep that turret alive. DRX aggressive, pushing, taking objectives.
Yeah, and DRX, they're slowly but surely continuously just taking cuts at Damwon, chipping away at everything. Noguri has upgraded
Phải lột chung kết cũng đánh BO1 hả? Ác gì? Ý là đánh tới chung kết những BO1 nè. Ru nè, BO1 for on round. Phải lột mới vô gặp Team Info luôn. Mới vô gặp luôn nè, mới xếp lại kìa. Nè. Tiếp vậy?
Gonna be the same champion for about the next 10 minutes almost. Looks like he's going Banshee's Veil.
Giống như lồn này nó biết nó xếp lại sao?
Senna's now at 3 items. She's gonna have ways to go until she completes her 4th. And so there's a lot of upside coming for Damwon in the next couple of minutes, whereas DRX now they're gonna start slowing down. But if they can win this next Ocean Dragon fight, the game gets very
Là chủ nhật tuần sau mấy ông?
Because they are going to win in a split push scenario. Jax is going to scale much better in that
24
regard.
quên 25.
What Noguri is going to be able to do.
Ủa 24
with some certain build trickery that you can throw down as the on, but definitely not going to have.
Hình như quấn nét gần chỗ tao thì phải cái Kingdom như gần chỗ tao bên sư bạn Hạnh thì phải.
Ủa? Kỳ Hòa. Ủa chứ không phải ở bên Hòa Hưng à? Kỳ Hòa thì gần hơn, Kỳ Hòa xịn á, Kỳ Hòa bữa mình quay ấy đó.
Quá lần trước đúng không?
Kỳ Hòa mấy xịn hơn.
Heroic entrance going to be available from Chovy, but he's actually standing with the rest of his team as Doran looking for a little bit of a flank. That's going to be the route, but it's Beryl that they've decided they want to take down first. He's going to flash away. It's a decent knock.
Má đánh xong ăn lỗ bò, cũng má là hợp lý để cắt.
See Noguri still very healthy, and look at the AoE. Showmaker flashes forward. That's going to be the Devour, but it's going to cost the life of Keria, and now in comes Damwon, obliterating DRX. The Justice Punch will be stopped. No justice for you today, Chovy. As Damwon, they say you can have your Ocean Drake if you want it. We're going to take the Baron.
Oh, and I like it, Noguri. He turns around. I think he's going, it looks like he's going over to the Ocean Dragon. He acknowledges, wait a second, there's a Cougar on the loose. He's heading on over to the Dragon. Ornn will beat Nidalee in this 1v1, and it looks like that is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, Smite comes in, and no, it's a big Forge God as well as a Dragon that he has to fight as he pounces out of the way, but this will mean even on the Drakes. And I have a feeling Pyosik isn't going to escape this one either, as Yeah, I think Cougar hunting is exactly what Damwon are doing. Good by Pyosik and DRX. It was looking good until it absolutely wasn't.
And it was really looking like Damwon were just going to lose this fight. Beryl was really missing his stopwatch at this moment right here. He flashes forward. Chovy didn't get the taunt that he was looking for. Really good searing charge into the Ornn ultimate, just knocking up everyone. Deft can't interact in this team fight. Ghost able to heal back up a lot of HP.
Ủa anh iPhone 12 kìa ông. Bet thì kiếm tiền qua iPhone 12 đi chứ. Nói cái thời dài trời.
And then as soon as they all go on cooldown, they really just run out of fuel fast.
Yeah. And I don't know whether they're gonna get
Má toàn mấy ông ba lô thạch xanh không? Đủ má hôm kia tôi mới thấy ông Weibo kêu lên đường cái qua lại thấy bet đủ hết 600 ba lô.
It is 29 minutes. The game has actually aged quite a lot. As it is still only 7 versus 7 as far as kills. DRX will be able to keep this inhibitor turret alive for a little bit longer. That's some good poke onto Canyon, actually.
Well, Savant Maker here with the Executioners on top of Fate, not making any of his other teammates have to suffer in the gold department.
That's beautiful, because he's going to be picking targets as well.
Yeah. He's going to be auto-attacking a lot, so he'll be the one to apply the Grievous Wounds, and this allows Canyon and Ghost to continue to power into other items.
That's stunning.
Are you ready to rumble?
That's a big loss for Boris. He's been trying to sell that book, man. I don't know. Maybe he's out of stock.
Well, Namakon's never out of stock.
Well, Damwon, they're looking to take this turret off the shelves, and they will be able to do so quite easily. Here's the gold graph. We're having a peek back at it yet again, and now it's swung back towards Damwon, as we've got a 4,000 gold Baron power play at the minute. 45 seconds until that one's done, as you can see, Doran was looking for Canyon and unable to close the gap. And DRX, it's feeling like game one all over again, LS. I don't know what they're going to do, but they need to do something.
They definitely do. And I like this. Look at the swap off. Twisted Fate sells his Executioners, gets the Zhonya's, and Graves immediately picks it up. And so now Zhonya's Paradox was completed.
Yep, that's going to be his ornament of choice. Very
Beryl,
nice.
Yeah, he has Zeke's and he has Mikhail. So it looks like he's not going to get the Salvation ornament upgrade this game.
Phò này lắc ta.
Not going to be the end of the world.
Mẹ lót miếng kìa.
As well right now. Chovy is down 1 level, Deft down a level to Ghost. And that's about it. The game still relatively even.
Để tối tí chơi vô ơi. Lắc quá.
On the side of Damwon that the gold graph at the top doesn't tell you about.
Yeah. Does tell you about a bit of it. Of course, Twisted Fate just liking to pilfer a lot more money.
Tí to đánh nha. Ăn xong đánh cũng được.
These ornaments really stacking up as DRX on the ropes, trying to defend against Damwon. As we noted before, the 0-2 power spike for Nuggery, he was 0-2-0 and is now 1-4. See whether that scoreline's going to look better, as he's a very, very tanky boy. Warmog's now complete. Great spear to land on a Ghost, actually. And not a lot of sustain on Damwon, so now going to back away. Still 4,000 plus gold in the lead. But this was a game that belonged to DRX.
Yeah. And DRX, they were so far ahead at one point, but then just one blunder and everything went away. Damwon, more and more items continuing to come in. Bloodthirst now on Aphelios, so it's not actually going to be the Death's Dance that traditionally comes out on Aphelios. Meanwhile, on the flip side, though, Warmog's completed for Ornn.
Indeed.
Weibo giờ mạnh rồi. Đâu thèm ngồi nói chuyện chung nữa.
He doesn't like that item choice very, very much. But with Deft, he just wanted to build it. Get as much damage there as possible. We'll have a fair bit of crit as well at this stage of the game. It's Pyosik trying to get vision in where he can. 10 seconds until this Ocean Drake will be some point for whoever picks this one up. Chovy looking to try and get in there. Banshee's popped. We'll have Protobelt back available pretty soon, and also can join the fight at any stage. He'll pick up the mid-minion wave.
Oh, this is a really terrible angle fight for DRX, though. They're running into Ornn, unless Nuguri presses his R.
Yeah, that's going to be the knock-up onto Deft, though. Great Devour comes through. It is going to be the Drake secured by Damwon, but can they win the subsequent team fight? Doran diving forward, but Damwon just reform the Phalanx. And now look for the re-engage. Piercing Darkness keeps DRX alive, but Damwon, they got what they came for. Now they'll move away.
Let's see what they're going to be able to do. Facing Soul Point now, Nuguri, he's going to clear in one more wave. And I don't know what DRX is really anticipating here. Baron's about to come up as well. That dance around the most recent Ocean Dragon is also telling us what to probably expect around this Baron. It's going to be pretty similar. Jax does not have his item completed. As we mentioned before, Chovy, he's stuck on these same items for such a long time. He's trying to get into the Rabadon's death cap. Nidalee picked up a blasting on iEdge on Senna, so a little bit of loss to Shopkeeper. Boris very happy. But Damwon, on the flip side though, there's not any major items either. Showmaker must be piling a lot of gold. He's been sitting on those control wards with the same inventory for quite a while.
Yep. Alright, there's the Gravitum. He's going to land the stun as Zhonya's is going to be popped here, but the Kitty Cat doesn't have a lot of options. Oh my god! Is able to keep him alive with the Devourer's Carrier, and even the collateral damage not enough to finish off the Cougar. Damwon though, now they get the flash out of Koshik, they get his health bar extremely low, and now they have full control of this Baron. Doran off to the side, will get a control ward into this Baron. That's going to be the face check from Chovy. He's a bit of a tanky boy, he does have himself the Zhonya's, as he's looking to try and get himself down. And yet again, I think I've seen that play before. As Carrier gets his gargoyle to safety as well.
That is a tanky boy. As
that's the flash gold card. Doran over the top, trying to get himself in there. There's the heroic entrance. They're trying to keep neutral, but it fails. That is going to be mid-jungle already dead. Damwon picked as many fights as they could, trying to stop that Devour from keeping everyone alive. And they were able to do it successfully the third time. Now they'll be able to break open the base and take probably the safest Baron, if they would like to, unless they just want to try and push through for the win. Deft and Doran, they're going to try and hold on to these Nexus turrets. Carrier going to be there as well. Great double knock up there from Nuguri. Devour comes through onto Deft, but now that's going to be on cooldown, and the stun is going to land. The Senna taken down off the backline as Canyon.
Thì ngủ xin chừng nào dỗ ăn xong kia ta.
He had a stopwatch, but he now doesn't have his life. The second Nexus for Damwon will be taken. This team looking unstoppable today.
Yeah, they managed to pull it back in game number 2 off the back of really good team fighting. And DRX, with the team comp they had, with the position they had in the game, this is really scary because moving into game number 3, what does it really say? I'm not really sure, but Damwon, they're looking very poised to just take this 3-0.
Yeah, this is really dangerous, because now Damwon will move back to the blue side. This is definitely their more winningest side. I have, of course, been talking about that quite a lot today. However, that is a lot of wins on blue side over quite a large period of time. And Damwon probably looked better as these last few months have passed. And that obviously hasn't been dropping off here. These games have just been so
the scariest thing is that they're putting the carry on Doran in that game. They're putting Chovy on Galio. Now, Galio is one of his favorite, I think, premier champions that he actually has in his inventory. But, again, this circles back to, obviously no one else is getting the job done. So, if DRX is going to have a chance, Chovy probably has to be on a champion that can just take over the game by himself.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the Galio hasn't been in, but he was able to keep up the farm really well. Yeah. It's decent. It's a little bit of a danger, but to get a behind-the-scenes look on how the 2020 Anthem came to be, we can hear from all the major players who helped create the Anthem and their motivation behind its development. The episode drops on October 29th. You can listen free exclusively on Spotify. And that will do it for us. Game number 3 after
Here, here. Growing pains. Invisibility. Oh, yes. As I will. Oh. Pay for the privilege. I'm under attack. The pain train. A royal path. A path to pain. Worthy tribute. Oh, yes.
Middle tower is defending itself.
Forward. Oh, yes. A love fight.
Middle tower is under attack.
Quickly now.
Prevent this.
Here, here. Your queen moves. Forward. Forward. Into the bottle. Here, here. A
To the State Farm Analyst Zone, I want to take a minute here to look at the deciding fight in this second game between Damwon and DRX. Now, DRX got off to a pretty good start here in this game. It was pretty even leading into this fight, but I want to look at how they tried to use Dorian to get into this fight, and then Damwon's patience to turn it around and ultimately come away with the victory. Right from the start, you can see that Dorian is going to be down here all the way in the river. There's not a lot of vision, so his pathway towards the rest of his team is going to be pretty clear here for the most part as he comes in on the side. But normally, you think about these top laners and you say, oh, doesn't he want to go for like this big... Well, that's not necessarily the case for this game, because they have the Senna and Italy. They really want to make sure he's within range so we can get those heals and stay alive. So for DRX, they have to hit frontline first, but as you can see here, that ends up being a bit of a problem for them. Beryl and Nagari, they're standing inside the brush right from the start, and Beryl's the one who's going to get picked off. You can see Doran coming around the side, so he is going to basically fall down. Look at this. Chovi's taunt only hits onto the Thresh. He was so close to a big 5-man taunt, but it does not come through. This means that everything from DRX is spent onto the Thresh. They don't get any value out of the Galio ult, and that right there, Dorian, uses his E. As soon as Dorian's E goes down, he does not have the ability to jump into the backline, because then all of a sudden the Aphelios damage is going to be able to come through. The gold cards and Cruise of Fate are going to be a big problem as well. So at the start of this fight, it's a pick from Damwon. They end up getting caught out, but they're able to turn it around no problem here, because Nagri is just so unbelievably tanky. They also held on and ultimate, so he's able to flash forward from gold cards, get the first kill, and then go back while Nagri waits for that flash into the turret for that multi-man knock-up to turn things around and make sure they win that game. And this entire comp from DRX felt like it was really focused on making sure this Jax could get a lead, could play in these fights well, but as you saw right there, one mistake getting picked off, putting too much onto a tank frontliner, not a carry, means you're going to lose a lot. I want to head over to our other analysts here as we chat about the rest of this game.
Yeah, and I'd love to take this opportunity to talk about kind of the Jax, but also top lane priority and the way the games are played and won in this meta and at the 2020 World Championship. Because to me it seems like if you're going to run the Jax, especially into Damwon's composition, you have to have a set of circumstances of things you need to succeed. Could you lay those out for me, Yamato, and what actually happened in this?
I think the key thing when you are picking something like the Jax is that you want to be in a situation where you want to use the fact that you are stronger in skirmish and more isolated situations for as long as possible. If you're forced to be in team fights too early, you're going to be in trouble. That's why we like seeing the champion like Fnatic. Another one, the big issue with Jax in Ornn is that Ornn is also best friends with Tide, because by the time Jax begins to knock on turrets, Ornn just starts building out.
Yeah, and we even saw like once or twice down the bottom lane, Jax with a fully stacked passive goes to trade into Jax and still going up into the Ornn. We're also starting to see a lot of global up around the strong skill pusher, and as soon as that happens, turrets with a TF, even with the counter strike, the TF does
Feels awkward because I actually wanted to show us the replay of when it was going well for Jax, but we can actually look at it because this was when I started to get a bit more hopeful, because ideally you want your Jax to get a bit fed, to get a couple of kills, to make sure that he can do something versus that Ornn leader in the lane specifically, or in the team fights, Yamato.
I think the key issue here is just that the position. I'm just looking at the weapon of Ghost, and he, right now with the change to Aphelios, is very, very depending on what weapons he has, do a lot of damage in those situations. Like if he had the flamethrower, maybe DRX's position would be worse. But DRX is way too compact with one-shot the grades, and Ghost and the Aphelios can really do much in this fight, and Jax definitely delivered in that situation.
Jax delivered, and then you think, well, hey, now they're set up for success. So let me try and simplify this, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or not. If you're a team like DRX, who you know that you are in essence worse than Damwon, right? That's what we have to expect. So you have to be able to have the right compositions and the right moments in that game. Is it in that scenario a bad decision to go for Jace in a game 1, but a Jax specifically in this game, where they have a full team fight comp and an Ornn that will be able to withstand everything? Are you better off, like you said at the end of game 1, just to build your comp with a tank top laner and make sure you have other things you can work around?
I think that's the easy way of patching up the issues. They are the ones that are playing the Ornn, and in the early that's when the issues came in for DRX. So just simplicity in the mid to late game. Make sure that you streamline the game early on.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about simplicity. It's so much more intense. Into a melee champion. So if all top lane and it's like a Gauss in the mid, it's a Tristana, Cassiopeia, Syndra, any of these ranged backliners can pump out DPS, or something decides to send it to bottom lane. It becomes much easier to walk into a 5v5.
Yeah, it just seems that for DRX, they have to find an answer, and they have to find it quickly. They are up against it. Damwon is just stronger in every aspect of the game for now. It is do or die for DRX as they are on the verge of
the enemy's middle tower can withstand no more.
Not yet.
Alo ông ơi, Godsend chịu 351 ok không? Tôi lừa ông bao giờ chứ ông? Thôi thôi ông ơi, tôi kêu nó giấu bài ông, đủ mà tôi biết ngay là thằng lồn đấy giấu bài mà ông. Thua rồi. Tí nữa over. Nãy tôi kêu over mà. Cái gì? Sprout thì có sao đâu, ông bet over mà. Không phải lúc ông vừa hỏi tôi over rồi chứ ông thì tôi biết ông bet over sao. Nhưng mà ông vào Godsend hay không chưa? Tôi đâu có lừa ông đâu, đủ má. Mang nhóc giấu bài đi con mai e, hôm trước thì bị rep, hôm nay rep ngược ạ. Không ok không? Ủa? Mình tên gì đấy? Ê, gặp ngay về trận đầu tiên luôn á hả? Ai còn cả. Aquata. Tôi đến học lên mà. Trời ơi, lồn đi. Thua lỗi của là lỗi của Mr. Carry cho tôi đúng. Khiêu mất, tôi đi lên Minh Phu rồi, tôi biết tôi rep Minh Phu rồi. Ông ăn bao nhiêu rồi không? Ra tôi ít bet không? Alo ông? Alo, thấy gì? Red ngon lắm mà. Alo. Tôi thua rồi đó. Tôi tưởng ông còn nhiều lắm. Tôi buồn ông. Đúng rồi không? Đi nào không? Lại cái. Có trận nào bet được không ta? Nịp Sprout năm 2 lại ông ơi. Đi connect bao xe rồi xem lại. Năm 2 tôi chỉ có một con đường sáng là over nhau. Nịp với Sprout ấy. Chả này xua over con mẹ nó luôn. Nịp với Sprout ấy. Thì đi trên Facebook ấy. Nhưng mà tôi nghĩ ông nên vào nịp trừ 2.5 tại vì kèo này kèo đúng là xu win được không? Chắc tỷ số chắc tầm 16, 12 hoặc 16, 11 đấy. Nếu mà rep thì tôi không biết. Ông unlock rồi rồi không? Tôi sẽ cung bet từ đây không? Nịp đó, nịp trừ 2.5 đó, kèo đấy siêu win con mẹ luôn. Bắn rồi mà. Rồi. Nịp trừ 2.5 chắc chắn luôn. Kèo đấy siêu win con mẹ luôn rồi, đều nói nhiều. Mấy thằng Godsend vô bài ác quá ta. Má nó bỏ giải Flash Boy đúng má bắn Dream Hack luôn.
You just saw Shiri, the Oppo campus youth sharer, takes on a trip down memory lane. This is brought to you by the Oppo Cam, making sure you can get an insider look at we're about to get a look into Champion Select. LS, as Syndra has already been banned away, as DRX will remain on the blue side. I told a bit of a lie, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm used to the best of 5 format. Here at the LCK, this is of course loser gets side selection. So DRX have another opportunity. The Lucian being banned away, and very standard from our last game, as Syndra and Camille seem to be the blue side bans DRX feel they have to make.
Well, let's see if we are going to get Kobe on something that just on his phone or the one in the background right now is scanning on all the DRX players. That's exactly what I was thinking about. What the heck? One scene where they're like, oh my goodness. Yeah, they're about to get patched on. Yeah.
They need to get into their weird Noah zone. John Cusack, like, I mean, that came out of the one. It's an easy one to know when it came out, actually. Actually, I know there's a when you get that mind meld, and of course, game 3. As Nidalee, going to be the final ban there, as Twisted Fate is going to hit the bench on Dom one side, and calling for, that is going to be the denial of Canyon's Graves, and that's going to go into the hands of Goshen.
Well,
your queen.
Let's take a look at what Dom wants to do. As the response, Ornn being hovered.
Ornn Lilia could come out here. Lilia is going to be the one that escapes the ban list. Was in fact banned in both games on the blue side by both teams. Syndra being off a little choice. Nidalee feeling like something that DRX didn't want to first pick. Didn't want to trade the Graves with him either. Now Kenyon thinking about whether he wants to take Bambi into the jungle.
Dyke structures are fortified.
No.
Kindred.
Oh my goodness, this is a flex. That's it's called taking Choshik's name in vain.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Well, already a lot of scaling on the side of Dom 1 right now. DRX is going to try to respond to this one.
Okay, that's going to be hard. Torrent has of course played it as well, but Vlad being locked away is very interesting. Vlad mid lane hasn't been played in a long time.
They're going to try to go through the TS win against DRX. If you recall that game, the final one, but that would be a really big blunder because DRX were very favored in that game before just botching a couple of late game team fights. But no, it's not going to be that way. Senna is just going to get picked up here by DRX. Stop wanting to go for a proper punish onto it now, or are we just going to see the handshake? Maybe even just another Aphelios or something.
Yeah, Orianna is so available and considering going down the tier list as far as mid lane is concerned, Orianna certainly the second cab off the rank. And now Damwon do have the opportunity of banning away a couple of those picks into the Orianna that Chovy might want to go with. This Vlad, we have to remember, is a little bit of a flex, but I don't know whether they want to take it into Orianna.
The thing here is, against Kindred and Orianna as it is right now, you really need something that beats Kindred and Orianna, which typically you have to try to outrange them. Now, with Vladimir being there, though, I don't know what DRX could really hope to go. Obviously, Ziggs is an option. You can try to poke it, and then he has a sapling. So he's able to sort of jump out of the way of Nornar. But you're looking for champions of that ballpark to try to come in and do something. The long-range artillery mages or something that can reposition, but I don't know what DRX DRX is actually thinking or anticipating. Galio probably shouldn't come out because there already is Kindred and Ornn on the enemy team. But this is do or die. And Chovy was the Ziggs player, so could see something like that.
Would Ziggs center work in the bottom lane with Sense?
No.
This wouldn't work.
No, Alex.
I just like talking about flexes, man. It's exciting. Ezreal going to be the final man here. The Kalista, if that's where Damwon would like to go. They're actually holding on to Ghost pick until last. Just in the bottom lane, as that's the Pantheon locked away. It was something that Carrier could have gone towards as well, so a bit of denial there also.
Really good for Taric or something of that nature.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trickery against Kindred, very good against Ornn, very
doors.
good against Pantheon. But no, they're hovering raw.
Oh, how exciting. Yep. Door versus Shield. See which one is going to come out ahead here, as now DRX going to have to stay in.
Artillery.
Is this the Pyke mid?
Your bottom tower is under attack.
Is Chovy going to do it? What? A whole other Velvet? You called this! You called this before the series started! And the Velvet is going to be locked away! Oh my goodness, you have been looking at the world's playoff script?
Well,
we swore we weren't going to do that!
We've been talking about the inevitability of the eventual three making their way into mid as the next evolution of mid lane. Right now it's mostly Orianna, Azir, Corki were controlling everything for a long time, but the one-up to them is Xerath, Vel'Koz, and Ziggs. But no one's really been able to pilot them consistently enough to take them to main. And then very ancient mid laners like Fizz and other things start coming back, but Chovy on Vel'Koz, that is a 1v9 champion. So
absolutely.
Do it.
This is also a positioning champion as well, so DRX are going to have to continue like they did in game number 2 to level up that vision game and give the Vel'Koz actual avenues to get himself to objectives. Because if the game's like game number 1 where the map is just dark, the Squiddy's just dark wherever he tries to slither. So let's see whether there's so much late game damage on DRX. It's all like absolutely absurd amounts of
Chovy's on the champion that's the most important in the entire team comp. That's what we want him inside of the draft. So if he can get ahead, there's no interaction that he's just gonna get cracked.
Also, going to be taken to the rift on his first unique champion outside of Nidalee and Graves. I believe he's been playing just those two throughout the entire tournament thus far. So, trying on Persian's hat himself with the Kindred will definitely be interesting. But I think everyone's going to be focused on whether or not the Vel'Koz is going to work out. If you're going to make a play, do it now. Otherwise, you're going home.
Yep. Definitely do or die for them. We'll see how the early game is going to go. I am very curious how proficient Chovy is because I don't think this is even something that should pop up in solo queue, which means that all of his practice on it must be inside of scrims unless he has some sort of a secret ID. And this is not a champion that you
Chovy has like 400 accounts, by the way. He is one of
Oh,
those people who likes to be really when it comes to like which accounts. I used to have a friend on Twitter who'd like show me all the accounts that Chovy's been playing. I stopped checking after like the first 17 accounts or something like that. It was just a little bit ridiculous. So he might have one of those accounts where he's been playing a lot of Vel'Koz. But also, Chovy's champion pool is just very wide and very eclectic at the same time. Here we are onto the rift. Chovy does have Bling Vel'Koz as well. I wonder how it O-dance. Do you remember that spazzy video about Vel'Koz? It came out a very, very long time. Might have even been before you started playing League of Legends, but Vel'Koz has one fan. this early game shenanigans. And that's a Vladimir now without a flash. Also, I want to say thank you to so many people that have been trying to inform me that in fact 2012 came out in 2009. Around me. You're predicting Vel'Koz's out of nowhere. And then 2012 came out in 2009. It's a rough time. Can you take it away?
Yeah, you are. That's brutal. Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, that is exactly the state of this series at this point. DRX do have to win this game if they want to stay in the series. It's how best of fives work. It's Canyon starting off on his red buff. See where he goes afterwards. Here it starts for both of our junglers. Chovy has managed to get some damage down there. This is the bottom lane as well. Yeah. Displayed the most of over here in the LC. Didn't really work out when he was in there. Beryl do manage to get that level 2 first. Q is going to be avoided. Doran's a little bit brittle. Not going to get popped on. Piercing darkness is his way back to the health. Long shot. This time.
That's very unfortunate. Which is a very interesting matchup, depending on how it's going. Looks like Chovy's only used one corrupting potion so far. In the later stages is going to be that Stomp doesn't have anyone that can reach Vel'Koz. Leon uses his ultimate, he lands at a designated location, which means that if Chovy times it right, he just instantly knocks anything up.
Otherwise, it is going to be the Call of the Forge God from Valkyrie. He's using that just to try and stop the Vel'Koz. Then you've got Vladimir getting in here. You've got Graves doing a lot of damage. You've got Senna, who's going to be ripping apart your team. Like, there needs to be about 7 Rams in this game in order to make sure that all of the threats are taken care of. So, let's see whether Chovy does get the space that he requires. It's actually out of the Damwon. Does like to play around multiple threats, and they just allow whoever has the most leeway to win a team. Definitely up 2-0 in this series. Alright, Canyon pressing W. Cool. Glad we checked in on that one.
Doing a pretty good job right now in mid lane. Hold on, big trade though.
The fight down here is Def. Not going to get stunned up just yet or anything like that. And DRX will limp away, but it is certainly a limp as Doran. Not going to throw down his pull just yet. But losing out in these trades at the moment. Not something that Vladimir is too worried about. Of course, you have